Let me tell you a story. Before I do that, we have to write one. And that's hard. Let's start with the setting. The place is here, the time is now, and the purpose, well, it must be urgent.
Let me tell you a story. She walked over to my house barefoot. Red hair, blue eyes, freckles, and a smile. She was beautiful. So beautiful. It was 2007. I was young, new in town, and often afraid. She ran over to my house one morning in June and rang my doorbell twice. I answered in my pajamas. It was 9 a.m. She looked me up and down in my SpongeBob pajamas, and after an awkward moment of silence, I told her she wasn't wearing any shoes. She said, "I know. The grass tickles. Do you want to play?" Now, I know that these details are extraneous, but I want you to understand how simple this interaction was. And by doing so, I want you to see the extraordinary fact that this beautiful girl had just asked me to play. Because she was the kind of girl you knew was going to grow up to be popular. And it's rude, I know, but even back then, I could see her with her chunky blonde highlights and her multiple boyfriends. We were going different places. But it was that awkward summer between 2nd and 3rd grade where what you looked like and who you hung out with mattered a little less. After all, who's gonna see? So we ran around the neighborhood barefoot, bound together by our matching green footprints. At night, my mom would make me use the shower head to wash them before I went to bed. I could hear her muttering about how much she hated Kate, reassuring herself it would all be over by the time school ended. It was as if our friendship came with a pre-existing expiration date. My mother was right. We never talked in school. By the 4th grade, we stopped having our summers. By the 6th grade, we stopped talking at all. 9th grade was her first time cheering for a football game. And for some reason, I decided to go up to her in the middle of the hallway in front of all of her friends and wish her luck. I still don't know why I did it, and a part of me expected the reaction I got. She looked at me as if I were a stranger. I walked up to her, and she ignored me. And I was furious. Who wouldn't be? We played in our backyard, we ate grilled cheese, we picked flowers to make our own perfume, bound together by our matching green footprints. We were friends. And she looked at me like she didn't even know me. She had the nerve to walk right past me, but worst of all, I had the nerve to go up to her in the first place, when I knew it was already over. Now here is where the ordinary rejection becomes extraordinary. Because that night, Kate texted me, "Hey, it's been a while. Sorry about today. You know how it is." Now, this made me even more angry, not at Kate or at the school or the system, but at myself. Because I did get it. Her message made absolute sense. I wish I could tell you that past her hard exterior, she was broken and insecure, that she was naive. I wish I could tell you that her status was shallow and that her new friends didn't really love her. I wish I could tell you a story about high school divas people think they love but don't really understand. I wish I could tell you all of these things. And for a while, I guess you could say I did. Then why am I the one who feels so alone? None of it is true. At least not the second part of the story. Kate never texted me. Her disregard said what that text didn't. We had moved past our expiration date. We were ordinary. And ordinarily, these friendships always end. But I'll tell you what is true. I miss her. but at the same time, I'm glad we aren't friends anymore. What's true are the green footprints on my living room carpet. What's true is that once upon a time, Kate and I were friends.
Let me tell you a story, one about the unknown. It's not real, of course, but for a moment, just pretend that it is. There is water filling up the streets outside. I guess it was just raining too much. I haven't done much to stop it, but my mother, along with the other housewives, tries to clean the drains, hoping that the water will go down. She asked me to help, but I can't bring myself to. My father, to no avail, uses ramps and tubing to try and direct the water away. And Raul, the city representative, calls in the big guns, who say the water should go down in about a day or two. It's been a week, and I've still done nothing. I should be more afraid. My neighbor Dhingra tries to build a wall around her house, terrified, because her kids cannot swim. She has two. Both wanted to learn, but were never given the chance. And so, enchanted by the phenomenon, they drop paper boats and dreams into the water from their windows. The water that is now 3 feet deep and doesn't show signs of ever stopping. I should do something. And yet, much like Dhingra's kids, I'm in awe. The water starts off clean. Soon it picks up branches and dirt and small dogs and quickly resembles the color of old coffee. I should do something. My basement is now flooded. Water is starting to seep in under the front door. My mother is scared. I wonder what it's like to take a submarine to school. I laugh and do nothing. A part of me wants to, but a larger part just wants to wash away. So I wait. One day, when the waves get high enough, I'm gonna go swimming and never come back. But then again, this story isn't real. And if it were, where would I even go?
Let me tell you a story. One about good books and broken endings. I'm currently reading Fight Club because my friend said it was good. That and the fact that it is immortalized in pop culture, and I, for one, like to be in the loop. The odd thing about books is we cannot determine if they are good until we read them. Yet we read under the pretense that they will be amazing, and then they're not. I don't know what a good book means. I've never read one. I have read great books, the fairy tale kind, where you can escape your story and find refuge in another. I have read bad books, the kind that are scarier and cheesier than real life. I guess a good book is something that is close to reality, yet different to the point where it doesn't bore us. I think Fight Club would have been a good book. My friends don't usually lie, but the thing is, I already know the ending to Fight Club. I know because since it was so good, my friends couldn't keep it a secret. Most good things never are. It sounded like a good book. The kind that gives you chills and makes you dig back into the beginning to look for clues. An ending that is delicate yet painful. The kind of ending that makes you feel something. A sense of shock or accomplishment that you have been longing to feel, but I already know it. I already know the ending to Fight Club. So all the clues stand out more than they should, blinding and obvious against their black and white backdrop, and I feel nothing. I'm just angry. I really wanted Fight Club to be a good book. I wanted to talk about how much I loved it at parties and in lit class. I wanted to watch the movie 100 times with my friends. I wanted to let myself get absorbed with obsession. I needed Fight Club to be a good book. It's not just Fight Club. It's Breakfast at Tiffany's and 007. It's The Breakfast Club and Clueless. It's Groundhog Day and Hemingway. It's overrated. It's John Hughes and Capote and Christie. It's books, it's movies, it's stories, it's people. It's trying too hard to love something that you already know too much about to love. I know the secrets. I see the finish line before the first page. There's no purpose. It's ruined because I already know the ending. Or maybe because I expected too much from it. And no matter how hard I try, I cannot change it. It's not my story. So why am I even reading this at all?
Let me tell you a story. It turns out the rest of us already have. So I guess that means it's time for me to end one. And that's hard. Harder than writing and speaking and sharing, because if your story doesn't end well, your audience is going to be left unhappy. If it ends too well, then it's fake. And if it ends at all, it leaves you feeling scared and often confused. There needs to be a sense of purpose, and endings don't often have that. There's usually the indication that there's something more. And nowadays, we're a culture that responds to endings with sequels and prequels and unnecessary remakes. A culture that rewatches The Office over and over and over again in fear of the finality of it all. So we avoid endings. Like an episode in Friends where Phoebe's mom, messed up as she was, didn't let Phoebe watch the ending to Old Yeller. Not because it's a bad ending, but because her mom knew that the ending to Old Yeller, that the ending to life would scare her, that death would scare her. Close your eyes. Imagine being alive. No, not just living, but being alive. Imagine driving down an open road with the love of your life. The car's top is down, the radio is blasting, it's your favorite song. The road is empty and gorgeous, and it stretches for miles. One hand is out the window and the other clutches his hand. You can feel yourself floating. In that moment, you are infinite. You feel weightless. You are so undeniably alive. In that moment, you're a story, and it's so, so beautiful. Now imagine nothingness. Imagine pitch black so dark you see nothing, feel nothing, and it's heavy. Imagine the love of your life living on and forgetting you. Imagine your kids telling their kids about you, nameless faces who now know you but don't know you. It's not the same, you're fading. Imagine 200 years from now, you've been detached from your family name. You are absolutely nothing. No memory, no voice, no legacy. It's as if you've never even lived at all. Now open your eyes, breathe. This is that fear we all repress, and we can't fight it. It comes out to taunt us late at night or when we lose a loved one. There's fear in endings, and an even greater fear in losing the story itself. When I was around 7, I'd get this fear a lot. I would get this burning feeling in my chest as I pictured how one day our sun's going to blow up, and our earth's going to fade away, and nothing I do and nobody I love would even matter. This fear would wash over me in waves, and I would find myself overwhelmed as I constantly distracted myself by working, studying, playing, talking, anything to keep it from getting quiet, because when it gets quiet, my mind starts to wander. I was at the mall with my dad once, and I remember when we were leaving, I got hit with this wave of fear. It was hot, and I couldn't breathe. I remember bawling in the parking lot of a JCPenney because I was just so afraid. My dad didn't know what to do in that situation. But in that moment, he promised me that when we die, our family is always going to be together. I asked him, "How do you know this? How can we know the ending?" He said, "I don't know. But I choose to believe that. I choose to have faith because it keeps me going." I don't remember much else of that night, nor can I say it fixes anything. I'm still afraid. I turned 17 today, and it's weird because I'm excited, but at the same time, one part of me thinks I'm one step closer to my ending. And that scares the absolute shit out of me. But I remember what my dad said, that we as human beings have the choice to create meaning out of the meaningless, to inject moments with sentimentality, to weave morals and lessons into life. We have faith. Maybe for some of you, that's religion or dogma. For me, that faith, that something, is stories, is people. Because getting that sense of closeness to somebody else makes me feel just a little less alone. And maybe that's naive, but it keeps me going. After all, our stories must mean something to the world since we all keep telling them. It's time for this story to end. But that doesn't mean we have to stop writing. We write till our dying breath. We write till our hands give out. We compose stories because we need them to survive. But we have expectations to meet, and we have blank pages to fill and chapters to write, secrets to tell and people to love, expectations to meet and places to go, second chances and first times and learning to let go. We are driving down an infinite road, and it's messed up and ugly, yet so beautiful. We have stories, little packages of life to remind ourselves to keep going or to give to those who need them. We all have to begin somewhere. Tell me a story. If you're not ready, then write one. The place is here. The time is now. I know it's hard, but you can do this.